Hey guys, what is going on out there this morning? Good Sunday morning. I'm back here in the West Coast, the California desert, Rancho Mirage, California, the Mission Hills Country Club, um, the dining room, my makeshift office here, where I get to look out San Jacinto's every morning when I'm hanging out with you guys. And every day I just tell myself, I look out there and just go, Brent, don't screw this up. This is way too good. So anyway, guys, hope you're having a great Sunday so far, wherever you are. And yeah, I had a travel day yesterday. A lot of you, first of all, I want to say, man, thank you for, first of all, so many of you checked in via text and email because I had to retire in my singles match Friday, day before yesterday. Won the first set, and then early in the second set, my low back. It's been chronic for, I don't know, a couple of years. It just kind of comes and goes more often than it used to. And I've actually been pretty good about it for the last, I'd say, couple of months. And, I've done a lot of hanging off a chin up bar, which seems to kind of decompress the spine. That helps a lot. Been doing, some minor little yoga poses, the child's pose, which really helps me a lot with the back, and then some other things. But man, it just won out. It just kind of seized up early in that second set against Gary Jenkins Friday morning. And look, it may have been the weather that day was cold, it was blustery, it was kind of one of those things, and I kind of knew the whole time maybe I should be wearing a top to keep me a little bit warmer. But I just kind of felt like, I just didn't like that feeling of sort of wearing the top. It was just warm enough temperature wise where I felt like, if I was going to go a long 3 sets, I didn't want to be sweating like a dog to start. So anyway, long story short, I retired. And after I lost the second set, was kind of hoping to smoke and mirror my way through the second set and maybe pull out a victory, and then, go find a chiro or someone and see if I couldn't get fixed up for the next day. But anyway, and look, my hat's off to Gary Jenkins. Great guy, just such a nice man and outstanding player. And he had a great win yesterday. He beat number 1 seed Patch Bolton, at least according to the website. I haven't talked to Gary since, and there were some mistakes in the website that had to be corrected, but that result's still up there this morning. So he's playing the finals right now. It's probably over. It started at 8 o'clock Eastern time. It's now 10:18 Eastern, so who knows? But listen, guys, thank you so much for those of you who reached out and said, man, are you okay? Blah, 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 and all this kind of stuff. And yeah, I'm fine. And it actually, maybe sitting on an airplane yesterday for 8 hours, I actually went through every time zone, or at least touched down at every time zone yesterday. Atlanta to Austin, to Denver to Palm Springs. And I don't know, maybe that whole thing, you would think it would just be the opposite, right? That you'd be totally locked up. Dang it, my back feels pretty darn good this morning. So maybe that's the key. Who knows? But anyway, guys, thank you so much for those of you who reached out to me. And several of you who were there in the Atlanta area, I just want to say, hey, it was great meeting you. Thanks for coming up, introducing yourself. It was good to spend a few minutes with you and kind of see what's going on with your tennis game and just get some feedback from you about what I'm trying to do with web tennis, and certainly this 7 around 7. So guys, yeah, the aha moments about, and this message is not a general message. I'll be the first one to admit that. This message is really for those of you who are trying to become better players, right? I mean, and I don't mean the little tippy, the tip thing here, or the little nugget here that sort of maybe for a day or two kind of works a little bit, but then you kind of forget about it and it goes away and nothing changes. I'm talking to those few players out there, that small percentage, who are actually, trying to do more than that. They're actually getting some coaching, number one, from someone that maybe scares you a little bit, right? Not the ooey gooey that everything you do is, well, that was great. Oh, man, good try, blah, blah, blah. No. the book, The Talent Code, by Daniel Coyle, The Talent Code. You got to get it. If you haven't read this book, you got to get it. And it really is based on how do we improve at something. And there are a lot of examples of tennis in there. And there's really kind of a list of things that Daniel Coyle kind of discovered over his research on, well, what does it take to become better at tennis or music or soccer or golf or whatever it is. And there was a list of like 7 or 8, maybe it was 9 things. But one of the things is that you got to have a coach that you're a little nervous about kind of disappointing, right? And, as I read the book, all I could think about was the great Tom Stowe, who I had a chance to work with for 18 months back in the early 80s, 1980s. And this was a guy who was pretty gruff and didn't take any kind of artificial baloney. And if he saw something that he didn't like, I mean, he told you in no uncertain terms. And I think his most favorite thing to me, because I was trying so hard to get better. I was in my, as I said, I was in my early 30s, and I just sort of said, well, I don't have a whole lot of time here left to, tank around. I got to get good. So I was really forcing the issue. And he would tell me from time to time, man, Mr. Abel, is it really this hard? And I would kind of go, no, I guess it's not. And so, but I think for me in the long run, it was really good to have someone. And I had another guy that I worked with for about a year and a half as well later on, Michael Wayman, who has now retired, but he was the men's head coach at St. Mary's College in Northern California, originally from England, played in the tour, and same type of deal. I mean, he was, he wasn't as gruff as Mr. Stowe, but he certainly didn't miss anything, right? And there was just nothing got by him. And he had no problem telling you, wasn't mean, but he just told you exactly what he thought. And for me, it worked. I mean, I needed that kind of coach as opposed to someone who just stroking my ego all day long and feeding balls and going, okay, well, good, and all that stuff. To me, those kinds of coaches, and I mean this with all due respect, just don't have the clarity about you specifically, what you need to work on. They might have their own system that in general is kind of the way they teach the masses, but for you specifically, you need to find somebody. If this is what you want to do, if you really want to become a better player, you got to find some coach that's going to dig into you, that's going to really challenge themselves as a coach. Are they good enough as a coach to understand? Well, are you an audio type of learner? Are you a visual type of learner? Are you more of a kinesthetic type of learner? And they've got to be able to dig in and listen and watch and learn about you, rather than just saying, well, here's what you have to do, no matter who you are. And unfortunately, I see that all the time. I see that kind of coaching, and that's not what you want. So number one, find that kind of coach who digs into you, into who you uniquely are, but that is not going to just stroke your ego all day long, right? So that's thing one of what you got to do. I think the other thing too is that you got to get out of the comfy confines of your home tennis facility. So for me, it's been the Berkeley Tennis Club and it's been the Mission Hills Country Club. And so what I'm going to recommend to you is that this upcoming week, that you schedule a match and make it 3 sets. You can call it, well, it's going to be a practice match, 2 out of 3. Forget it. If you win the first 2 sets, we're playing a third. If you lose the first 2 sets, we're playing a third. But see if you can get someone, if there's not someone inviting you to go to their place, see if you can do a home and home, right? Where you call someone up and say, hey, this week I'd love to get out of my club, and, hey, what do you think? Would it be cool if I came over there? And then the following week you come over here to my club, whatever it takes. But you've got to start getting out of the comfy confines of not only your tennis facility, your home facility where you normally play, but also the same players that you're always playing against, right? I mean, The learning does not happen. You can take a gazillion lessons. You can go hitting the backboard and the ball machine all day long. You can drill. But if you're not really getting out of your club and getting into, go play in a public park. Hello, Betty. I mean, come on. You want a dose of reality? Go find some park that they haven't resurfaced the courts in 15 years, right? And let's see how your game holds up against that, right? Let's see how you mentally hold up against that. And if you want to get better, if you want to have those aha moments, then you've got to discover them away from the comfy confines of your home tennis facility. For me, I got this great message from NorCal Hall of Famer Charlie Hovler years ago. And this is when I was really kind of starting to play some senior tournaments. And the message from Charlie, who prolific in terms of winning national titles, winning gold balls, winning silver balls, is he just said, look, you got to show up. You have got to find a way to put it into your schedule where you're going to play as many tournaments as you possibly can at different places. You can't cherry pick, well, I'm going to go play this one national because it's on my favorite surface and because it's somewhere that I played before and this and that. If you want to get better, then you need to go, just like Charlie told me, he said, you got to get prolific in terms of showing up all the time. And look, for me, I took that message to heart and I played a ton of tournaments. And I'll be the first one to admit, some of the national titles I've won have been because one of the very top guys did not show up that week, right? One of the very top guys got beat early because, in the first round, just like what happened this week in Atlanta with my doubles partner, Phil Landauer, on the third point of his round of 16 match, he twists a certain way to react to a ball hit behind him and pulls something upper glute, and third point, right, of the match, first game. He ends up playing 2 games, and the third game he can't go, and that's after a full medical timeout. He can't go, and so look, and Phil was seeded too. So his half of the draw, now all of a sudden, one of the top guys is gone. And, I know that I mentioned Gary Jenkins, who I retired to in the quarters on Friday. I mean, he beats Padge Bolton, and now he's playing an unseeded guy, Doug Ruffin, in the finals. Well, Doug should have been seeded, I'll tell you that. Anyway, but I'm just saying that that's the way it happens sometimes. And so you've got to be prolific about showing up. And again, I'll tell you, this is for a small percentage of players who are listening to this and trying to become a better player. Is you got to shove tournaments, shove leagues, and shove practice matches, which is the easiest thing to do. I mean, especially if you're still working, right? If you're still working and you've got limited time because you've got a full-time job and you're raising a young family. I mean, now all of a sudden you got the family, you got the job, and now tennis is sort of down low on that, on the priority list. Well, if you're going to become better, if you really want to become better, then if you can't travel and get away, then once a week, schedule a match outside of your club, and shove it into your schedule. And you know what you're going to find is that's where, and that's when the epiphanies about your unique game kind of slap you in the face, right? Those aha moments about either, God, I got to work on this one part of my game. This forehand that I'm trying to hit cross court, it's coming up too short in matches. It's fine off the ball machine. It's fine when I'm drilling cross court with my practice partner. But in reality, when I get out there, and I'm using that as an example, obviously, right? But that's where, and again, if you're playing in the comfy confines of your home club, maybe these realities don't show up. So once a week, schedule a match outside, somewhere else. If you got to travel an hour, so be it. You got to do it. But that's when all the good learning really happens. Obviously, I talked about a coach early. I think if you're going to really commit to becoming a better player, then you got to have a coach. Trying to DIY this thing, trying to do it yourself and figure it out. I learned way back before I got with Mr. Stowe. Yeah, I got a little bit better, but not really. I mean, so when I finally, went to him and sort of gave myself up to him, my whole life changed. I mean, not only did I become a better player, but I became a much better coach, a much better tennis teacher. So, God, that's the message for today, man. Get out there, get out of your comfort zone. It's a classic thing. If you want to improve, you got to stretch. You got to get uncomfortable. You got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And again, I admit it. I mean, a lot of you guys listen to this show and you go and cherry pick other things on other YouTube channels or other tennis instructional websites. And I'm not saying that I'm not disrespecting, because a lot of players either don't have the time, they don't have the whatever, they don't have the desire. And they're just looking for a little tidbit here and there. That's cool. That's fine. But if you really want to get better, and I'm not saying this is a quick fix just because you go play some tournament or you play a couple of practice matches away from your home facility, that you're going to get better. God dang it. This might be a year or two in terms of doing this and getting beat up and getting comfortable with, I mean, I went out to play this match Friday, and here it is. It's cold. It's windy. I'm at a facility I've never played at before. I couldn't get on the practice court. So I had to figure out, number one, well, I'm not going to be blaming the wind. I'm not going to be blaming the cold. I can't blame the fact that I haven't had a proper warm up. So what am I going to do? And I'll tell you, man, it took me about 3 or 4 games into that match before I really settled in. But I didn't panic. I'd been there before. I'd had that experience enough times before where I knew that if I don't worry about this and just kind of accept it for what it is, it's going to be okay. And sure enough, I knew in the first 3 or 4 games, all right, I missed that shot. I don't think I will if I keep going here for the next 10 or 15 minutes. And I got down a break in the first set, and the next thing you know is I win the first set 6-3. So look, guys, and I'll tell you, I really did, just like I do every time I go play a tournament. I go play somewhere, and I always come away with something that I'm not getting in my practice stuff, right? In the comfy confines of my tennis facility, wherever that is, here in the desert or the Berkeley Tennis Club. And for me, it was I've gotten a little lazy with doing my core work, and that's why I think my back went out early in that second set. Is the last few years, 2017, 18, 19, I did a lot of core work, and it wasn't a lot. It was steady. It was every morning, just maybe not literally every morning, but probably 5 out of 7 days of the week. I was getting on the stationary bike for say 20 minutes early in the morning, cracking a nice little sweat. I would get off and do about maybe 7 minutes of some core stuff, and not much, but it was steady, and I didn't have any back problems. And so I came away just, sitting on the airplane yesterday, kind of taking some notes, just kind of going, looking back over the week in Atlanta. And there's always a takeaway. And for me, it was, we just got to get back to that, right? I mean, you are competitive with all these guys in your age group. Doesn't mean that you can beat each one of them every time, but there's no reason that if you are doing the work that you need to do uniquely, that you can't challenge each and every one of these guys in your age group. So that's it for me. I was really disappointed with the doubles. I would say the reason that I went out to Atlanta was not for the singles. I had an opportunity to play with doubles with the great Phil Landauer. And Phil, one of my all-time favorite guys on the senior tour. Just a cool guy. And his wife, Mikey. And, for a few days, we kind of hung out and we ate some meals together and laughed and that kind of thing. But I really went there not for my singles. I was there really to be able to play doubles with him. And here's a guy with 31 national men's doubles gold balls, right? He's won 10 singles and 31 doubles. So I'm watching him in his match on the third point where he does his thing, and I look at him. He kind of pulls up and he's holding his, his left glute. I'm just going, uh-oh, that doesn't look good. Come on, Phil, shake it out. It's just a little temporary thing. And he played the next point, could barely move. And sure enough, retired. And so he came off the court and he says, we're playing doubles this afternoon. We're playing doubles. I'm going, okay, all right, man, whatever you want to do. And we went out and played a good team. Actually, we played against Gary Jenkins and Henry Kennedy. And, Gary's in the finals of the singles. So we kind of smoked our way through that doubles match and ended up winning it 6-4, 6-3. And the reason, he wanted to do that was he thought, well, maybe I can go see the chiropractor. Maybe I can go see someone, a trainer. Maybe I can do something overnight and, the next day it'll be fine. And so the next day it wasn't fine. It was worse. I mean, the guy could barely walk. And so before my singles match on Friday, I just told him, I said, look, you got to get ready to play the hard courts, which are coming up in 3 weeks. And the worst thing that could happen is you and I go out and play doubles right now, and you either make this injury worse or you create another injury because you're trying to favor this thing. I said, it's just not smart. So, man, just drive home, take care of it. It's been fun. And I said, we'll do it again. We'll find another time. So there you have it, guys. All right. Schedule a match this week outside of your club and maybe against someone that it's tough on you. They got a style of play that doesn't work into your game. And maybe it's a club that, I don't know, maybe it's a public park, but it's totally different than what you normally do. And I promise you, if you do that, don't worry about winning. Don't worry about losing. Come away with being aware of, you know what? I'm trying too many first serves here, trying to end the point too early in the first serve because the surface here is not quite to my liking or whatever. And you're ending up throwing in a whole bunch of second serves. Well, maybe what you come away with is that epiphany that, gosh dang it, I got to make sure I get my first serve in. If that means that I got to put a little more shape on it, a little bit more spin, just so I don't have to deal with a second serve, then just throw that first serve in, 80% right at the body, right? 80% at the body is most of the time better than 95% to a guy's forehand or to a guy's backhand. So I could go on, but I'm not going to, because I'm going to start another routine. I got to get in the bike. Got to get this core thing going. Mai and I are to go out this morning in the grass. We're going to hit some around, see how the back feels. But guys, again, really, really appreciate all your support. And look, let me show you something here, and let's go with this. Come here. I just want to show you what. Here we go. And I want to thank you guys for those of you who have been supporting 7 Around 7, who've been supporting Web Tennis. The way to do it right now, besides buying a course, would be to pick up one of these Web Tennis on YouTube t-shirts. We've got men's, we've got a bunch of different styles, different colors, obviously different sizes, men's, women's, even some tees. I mean, some racerback tank tops for the gals. And yeah, I mean, we got a water bottle. This is a great water bottle, by the way. And there's my coffee cup in the morning. And look, guys, when you do this, what I'm happy to do is to give you one of my stroke technique courses. Right, they're normally $97, but you can choose from one of 7 stroke technique courses as a bonus, as a gift. My way of saying thank you for your support. Where are we? Come back here. There we are. All right, guys, that's it for me today. The link to Web Tennis gear is down below in the description area. Yeah, would love your support. Thank you. And guys, always want to read and respond to your comments, your questions. You can do that one of 3 ways. You can do it all 3 ways if you want. Down below in the comments area over at Facebook or YouTube, or you can direct message me at Facebook or just shoot me an email, brent@webtennis.com. And I promise I will respond to you. Might take me a day or two, but that's okay. I'll get back to you. It is time to get out there today. Help another human being have a spectacular day. Guys, I'll see you again next time.